Hello, Emerge Wrestling fans, and welcome. As today, myself, John Gates, A.W. Lurch over here, and Commissioner Chris Lowe are bringing you the entire card for Emerge 61 Fair Fight. Now, August 6th, 2022, gentlemen, I'm super excited that we're coming back to Columbus, but note the venue change. We're not at the Family Arts Building this time. We are in the community building. More space for more action. And, gentlemen, what a card that we have here tonight. How have you guys been? Pretty good?
Pretty good. And something tells me we're going to need that extra space to account for all the fans heading our way.
Yeah, because looking at this card, Commish, I mean, once again, knocking it out of the park. I don't know how you do it from, time to time there, Commish, but you really put together a solid card. And we'll start off
And I'm always doing good, by the way. Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks for chiming in there, Lurch. So, our first match of the evening, which is actually before bell time because it is the Facebook Live match presented by our good friends over at the Franklin Cricket. When I was looking at the card, Commish, this was probably the one I was least shocked to see here, and that's because we're getting the rematch between Sam Knight and Arthur MacArthur. Gentlemen, excited for it.
I am too. Arthur MacArthur has a genuine grievance with the way his previous match has gone, and it was an easy call.
Hopefully he won't be scared, to get back into the ring this time.
What do you mean? Did you not watch the same match that I watched? Arthur MacArthur was taking it to Sam Knight, beating the tar. I mean, the two were beating the tar out of each other. Like, I can say that much. But as soon as it looked like Arthur was going to get that victory, Hollywood House's dingy little hands came out from under there and grabbed him. What do you mean scared?
That's not what it looked like from my vantage point. He was scared from the looks of it. He finally met his match as far as being the world's strongest man, but he was scared. He didn't get back in the ring.
Lurch,
Sam Knight won.
Do you think he would be scared, if he was knocking down Comish's door for that rematch? I mean, this guy he wanted no part of that result. He wanted this match. He wanted this opportunity. He was knocking down your door for this match.
Yeah, Arthur MacArthur has had a few good showings in Emerge. Unfortunately, he's never gotten the W, and quite frankly, he could have been robbed at the last event, and it's only fair he has another shot.
I think that's a great point that you're making there, is that, his win-loss record here in Emerge is not indicative of him as a performer. He's put in, he's just looking for that 1 inch, that one little bit to cement himself, and I think that a victory over Sam Knight can be it, Lurch.
I don't think so. I think he needs to change scenes. I think he needs to look for a different movie, like Hollywood House is always saying. It's going to be a movie. He needs to step out of this. He needs to get out of their path.
Well, and here's an idea to it, and it's funny that you brought up, Arthur being scared. I wonder what the mindset of someone like Sam Knight is going into this match. I mean, I know they're over the moon, right? You're pretty close with them. Paragon getting that Outbreak Championship last event here, but I have a feeling that there's probably a lot of conflicting thoughts in his head. I mean, going into this match, he's looking at either, he's got all this pressure, to rep the set, to get this victory over Arthur MacArthur. But, can you give us a little bit more insight into the relationship there? Because it seems like Paragon and Sam Knight are both alpha dogs. Sam wants gold too. Is there any animosity there?
There may be some. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what's going on between the set. All I can tell you is they're all focused. They're all driven. They're all out there for the win. They're all going for the win. And it's going to be a movie on August 6th. I cannot wait for it. One of Hollywood House's finest right here when Sam Knight once again beats Arthur MacArthur.
I do ever wonder if you hear yourself talk, but you're exactly right about that. The only thing that we can do is wait until August 6th, see how that Facebook Live match turns out. And this next match, the first match on the card, Commish, is one that I cannot wait to see what happens because...
Starting off with a banger.
Starting off with a banger, as the kids would say, but... We're seeing one that it's more than just a banger. It's more than just a match, and we don't say this often, but it's more than just those tag team championships because we're seeing the Cabinet defend their gold against the Black Cube Society.
Yeah,
And the Black Cube Society has earned this opportunity. And I'll be the first to admit they haven't had the greatest record in Emerge, but they have earned this shot. And some would say they're really massive underdogs. But I say don't underestimate them.
Well, I agree with you. And here's the thing. If y'all will allow me to set the scene here a little bit.
Sure.
Because it's Emergence Day 4. It's January 5th. And Chris Caliber has finally gotten back to the peak, gotten that Emerge championship back. And then Hadley, who just months prior won that Gamblers Gauntlet championship match. He said that, my friendship is more important with you than this championship and all this stuff, just to turn his back on him, just to, knock that chip over his head. And who was there to help him get out of Dodge so Columbus didn't riot? It was the Black Cube Society. Now, you talk about their win-loss record. I mean, the Black Cube Society, they've been thrown to the wolves by Hadley.
Thrown to the wolves?
Yes, thrown to the wolves.
Come on.
They had to face Justin Kyle by themselves.
How dare you? They should not even be in this match. They are nothing. They should not even be on the card. The Black Cube Society should be out the door, should be on the street, should be lobbying for somebody else after they turn their back on President Hadley and Sage Phillips, the cabinet.
Lurch, at least you forget that these guys are basically the reason that Hadley has been seeing this, or at least that's what it seems like to me. I mean, Hadley became Triple Crown champion the night that they formed. How many times have we seen a championship get defended successfully by Hadley because of those guys? What do you mean? Are you not tore up? You were just rooting for them 6 months ago. Are you not tore up about this?
Yeah, I was. We were on the same page 6 months ago when they were lobbying for the cabinet, when they were on President Hadley's side, going for everybody's dream in 2022. But no, I mean, no, Black Cube Society turning their back on the people who brought them to the table. I mean, come on, give me a break. These guys are worthless. These guys deserve nothing.
Well, listen, did you see it as turning his back on him, or did you see this as two guys who were pulled under Hadley's wing and learned, if they learned anything from him, it was to be opportunistic. It was to be, at the opportunity to, change your whole career. Mm-hmm. That's the way that I see this. They took that opportunity when Hadley was down. There was a kink in the armor there and challenged him. And of course, I mean, Hadley isn't necessarily one to shy away from a challenge like that.
Right. And make no mistake about it. Jeremy Hadley took Black Cube Society under his wing, and they have grown as performers and as athletes. But Black Cube Society is also, Lurch had something to do with Mr. Hadley's success. You've got to admit that.
I mean,
Just a little.
I mean, look, when you're somebody like Jeremy Hadley, when you've listened to his speeches,
I'm not going to.
When you're somebody like Jeremy Hadley, success follows you wherever you go. Now, listen, Black Cube Society, listen up. You made a mistake. And August 6th, you're going to pay for it, and you're going to be done. You're going to be done. You're going to need to lobby for somebody else for president.
Did he for real just put his glasses down?
I think he's on Hadley's payroll by that. I'm not sure, but I guess
might be a new Secret Service agent. You don't know that.
I guess we're going to have to go on. That match, of course, is sponsored by our good friends over at the Columbus Bar. Definitely stop in. I always need a drink after hanging out with this guy for a second. But, the only thing it means is that we get to come down here and go through this card, talk about the matches. And here's a match. This next match on the night is one that... wow, it's going to be a real interesting one to see when we're going to be seeing both men returning in action here, but for different reasons. Chet Ripley against Daniel Eads.
This could and when I booked it, I thought this could very well be a beautiful disaster because Chet Ripley is a little out there. And
A little?
Yeah, a little. And Daniel Eads hasn't been happy since he lost his Outbreak Championship. So it's going to be... something to see.
And it's going to be a disaster. You're right. Daniel Eads with his sight sets on somebody like Chet Ripley. I mean, he's going to take that fist and just give everything
just like
to Chet.
that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Well,
like
I
that.
hope it's a little bit harder than that, Lurch.
But one punch, and it's going to knock him out. It's going to knock his teeth out. You're going to see a different side of Chet Ripley. That's for sure.
Okay, but here's the thing. I mean, last event that we saw at Emerge 60, Home is where the hurt is. Chet was going up against two Daniel Eads-sized dudes. And so you have to think that he got the victory in that, right? I mean, he, coming out of that event, was one of the biggest fan favorites there, and it was through his resiliency, through that, what did you say, a little out there? It was through that he could fight through those guys, get the victory, get the crowd behind him, and certainly set himself up for success. And, setting himself up here as well with that Daniel Eads matchup, Commish.
And let's not forget, Chet gives a lot of credit to his mother.
Yes.
Mom.
His mom. Yes.
Good old mom.
And here's the thing, too, that I was thinking about is that I will be interested to see if his strategy changes up, if his game plan changes up. Because you take a look at, just a singles match and a triple threat match. On paper, the triple threat match is harder. You have to have eyes in the back of your head. But for Chet in this last match, it actually worked to his advantage because both Yukon Mike and Lobo Akami, they weren't worried about Chet at all.
They were too busy beating up on each other. Chet was more of a nuisance to them, and that nuisance turned around and bit him.
Yeah, I mean, that the whole time they weren't worried about squashing the bug in the corner. They were worried about, tossing some other dude out the window.
Yeah.
But that is almost where I think Chet could be at a disadvantage in this match because, he's not going up against two guys who just want to beat the tar out of the other big guy. Mm-hmm. He's going up against a Daniel Eads who has been through so much, losing the Outbreak Championship, losing his compatriots in Morty's Millionaires. I mean, where does he go from now? He's going to be laser focused. He's going to be just tunnel vision on Chet Ripley. That's a disadvantage, right?
Yeah, Mom's going to have a rough car ride home that night. Let's just say that.
My goodness. Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's August 6th for Emerge 61. Fair fight. And here's the thing. You're not even going to want to leave after that match because how many more matches do we have to go where the bar just keeps getting set and set and set? And this next match, that last match sponsored by our good friends over at Groby's, by the way, right. Definitely stop in there. And you can you'd be able to pull up Independent Wrestling TV and check us out on Emerge through a TV rented from Groby's. But let's move on because this next match is probably one of the most interesting matches I've ever seen put on by Emerge. Commish, I got to hand it to you for this one because we're getting a mixed tag team match when we see Jordan Cage team up with our women's champion in Charlie Cruel, and they go up against Selena Dean and Adam Swayze.
What a combination. I mean, what a pick by Selena Dean to go with Adam Swayze. I've been watching footage of Adam Swayze, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Well, and Commissioner, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit, too, on how you were able to come up with this match. I take it, because as we saw, Selena Dean not only lost at the last event for the Emerge Women's Championship, but as we mentioned, she was knocked out of the ladies' first tournament by Charlie Cruel. So this almost seems to me, at least, that she is... she's coming for revenge, that she is bringing back up, that she is going to... I guess just take it to Charlie Cruel. I want to pick your brain on that.
Yeah, Selena Dean really thinks, and she says she knows she can beat Charlie Cruel. Right now the title is secondary. I told her, you've had an opportunity. I can't give you another title shot, but let's make it interesting. And with that, she asked for Charlie Cruel, and Charlie was able to pick her own partner, which of course is Jordan Cage.
That was probably the first name out of her mouth, right? I mean, yeah. Jordan Cage is somebody who, he's hasn't always seen eye to eye with the fans, right? But he's always been a pillar. He's a champion all sorts of times. And this is a guy who she can really learn from. Not only learn from, but she's going to be able to rely on because, you probably love Selena Dean and Adam Swayze. I mean,
what a combination. I mean, You know, when Selena Dean was going through her Rolodex, that first name she came up on was Adam Swayze. I mean, choice number one. I mean, what an excellent. I mean, I can't wait to see them two together. I mean, hopefully I'll get to stop and talk, and we'll have a chit chat about our last cocktail party that we were at. But and it's gonna. I just can't wait to see the team up here at Emerge on August 6th. I mean,
and let's not
I'm
forget,
just excited about that.
should Selena be victorious, she gets another women's
Oh, she
championship
does.
tournament. Yes, sir.
Whoa.
Okay, well, you heard it here
Wow.
first, folks, that if Selena Dean, the team of Selena Dean and Adam Swayze, is that correct?
Yes, if that team is successful, then Selena gets another women's championship opportunity.
Well, that just adds a whole other wrinkle to this because, I mean, both Jordan Cage and Adam Swayze, they're going to be feeling a little bit of pressure from both sides because I'm sure Charlie doesn't want to, have to batter off Selena again, but Adam Swayze is definitely going to want her to get that championship opportunity once again. And taking a look at it, and Adam Swayze kind of reminded me a little bit of when Jordan Cage wasn't seeing eye to eye with the fans. And I think,
Fair.
looking at that kind of tells me that Jordan Cage, he sees this guy who is, perfect and is going to win a match any way that he possibly can. I think that Jordan Cage is going to humble him in this match.
I don't know. I mean, we're talking about Adam Swayze here. He's coming in, and not only that, but the commission, he has that motivation to help Selena get that title shot, to get that Emerge Women's Championship.
But you also got to wonder if Charlie Cruel might be just a little nervous sitting under the learning tree of one Emerge champion.
That's a
Jordan
great
Cage,
point
one of the
because
greatest Emerge champions we've ever had. And she can learn a lot from him.
And that's a great point. I mean, Jordan Cage certainly isn't somebody who's going to shy away from giving constructive criticism to those who need it. And so, yeah, maybe she might be totally just like in her head about every single move that she's going to make. Is he going to like this? Is he going to like that? So, once again, only one way to find out, and that's being there that evening. Of course, that match sponsored by our good friends over at Marco's Pizza. Probably going to go pick myself up one after this here tonight. But moving on to our next match, and Commish, you were mentioning earlier about a banger. I think this has banger written all over it because
I agree.
We're going to be seeing, from my understanding, first time ever singles competition between Braden Lee and the debuting Nate Matthews.
You're right. From everything I could tell, this is their first one-on-one match. And for Emerge fans who haven't seen Nate Matthews, wow.
Gonna be in for a show. He is the evolution of excellence, and just like his moniker suggests, I mean, he's has a lot of technical prowess within the ring, and my goodness, I mean, when's the last time Braden's fought up against somebody with that sort of it matches him in that way, Lurch?
No doubt, Nate Matthews lighting it up, going everywhere. I mean, making a name for himself in the independent wrestling scene right now, matched up against Braden Lee. I mean, wow. What else can I say?
And
if I may, the initial instinct in this match was I was going to have Braden Lee in a Outbreak Championship rematch. That was the initial plan. But if you've seen Braden's promo post last event, he wants the Emerge Championship. As much as he loved that title and as much as he's elevated the Outbreak Championship, he wants the Emerge Championship.
And I think you are, right on the money with that. And I'm really glad you brought that up and that we weren't going to skip over Braden calling out Justin Kyle. He wants that Emerge Championship. And to his credit, Commish, I mean, this is a guy who you have had to make him put the show on his back. He's main evented 2 shows with that Outbreak Championship. I mean, he was telling me that same thing. And here's the thing. Braden has always had that confidence in himself.
Absolutely.
Knows exactly what he can do and needs to prove that. He proved it right when he started, right from his debut, caught so many eyes. He proved that winning the tournament, proved that winning the Outbreak Championship. And so now the only thing that's in front of him, for him to be that guy, for him to reach the pinnacle, is that Emerge Championship.
And quite frankly, he's only 1 or 2 wins away from an opportunity. But Nate Matthews is going to be a big hill to climb.
I agree with that totally. And Lurch, I know you're probably excited to just see anybody take it to Braden.
Every time.
Yeah, I know it. But of course, that match is probably my dark horse match of the night. It could be match of the year. It's got all of those accolades written all over it, and that's because our good friends over at the supplement store, the Columbus Supplement Store. I'm pretty sure I've seen those guys go in there a time or two, and they are jacked. But going from people who are jacked to somebody who is about yay high, we're seeing a Positive Performance sponsored match. Definitely check our friends out over there as well. But we'll be seeing the returning Pretty Boy Smooth against the debuting Matt Brannigan. Lurch, I know you're really excited to see Matt.
Oh, yeah. Matt Brannigan coming in here right here Saturday, August 6th at the Community Center. Wow. I mean, going against Pretty Boy Smooth, I mean, he's got a tall order ahead of him, but I've got confidence. I've got confidence in Matt Brannigan going into this match.
And Matt Brannigan does have quite the pedigree.
Oh, of course. He's 10 years in the business. I mean, this is a guy who has trained overseas in Japan. Mm-hmm. He was trained by Cody Hawk and Les Thatcher of John Moxley fame. And so, yeah, Pretty Boy Smooth, I mean, he doesn't have as much experience as Matt Brannigan in this one. And so one thing that I'm really interested to see is just how this match goes about. I mean, what that match is going to look like. Is there a clash of styles? Is there mind games going on? I mean, Lurch, this is probably going to be one of the flashiest matches in Emerge history.
Oh, with Pretty Boy Smooth in the ring, you know it's going to be a flashy match. I mean, he has brought it in every match we've seen him in here in Emerge, and I cannot, can't say otherwise.
And here's the thing, too, and Commish, you were probably thinking about this while booking this match, is that, the Urban Playboy, I think he's another example of maybe the record that he has in Emerge. It doesn't tell the whole story, right? Because
absolutely. Numbers can never tell the whole story. You need a beginning, you need a middle, you need an end, and quite the picture has been painted.
Yeah, and this is a guy, I mean, he's 1-2, doesn't have the exact start that he wanted, but you take a look at his opponents. Justin Kyle lost to him for the Emerge Championship match. Lost to Paragon, but that was by DQ, Lurch, in dubious manners, and then getting a victory over Cole Radrick. So, whereas every match a competitor needs to win, right? I think competitors need to win matches for different reasons. And you might agree with me on this one that Smooth needs to win this match to get back into contention for that Emerge Championship.
If he wants to be an Emerge champion, you're absolutely right.
And if Matt Brannigan wants to be an Emerge champion, he will do everything that he can to get that victory over Pretty Boy Smooth.
Absolutely, and a win over Pretty Boy Smooth. I mean, what an absolute way to start that path. I mean, Matt Brannigan's got everything it could take to be the next Outbreak, to be the next Emerge champion, and he's going to beat Pretty Boy Smooth on August 6th. There's no doubt about it.
All right, get that one written down for your books there. Lurch has Matt Brannigan winning. But as we move on, I wonder if you're going to be so sure about this next match, Lurch, because our Greenlight Auto sponsored match of the evening, we're going to be seeing the Outbreak Championship defended for the first time by Paragon when he goes up against Big Beef.
Yeah, I mean, of course I'm going to be sure. It's Paragon, the purple one. And we're talking about going up against Big Beef, who's been traveling the country, but I don't care. I mean, we got Hollywood House in this corner, the newly crowned Outbreak champion, who, by the way, little birdie told me we might get a chance to see that match for free.
We are exactly right after. Great segue, Lurch. Exactly right after this, we're going to be seeing Braden Lee versus Paragon for that Outbreak Championship at Emerge 60. Home is where the hurt is, and the return to Columbus. You'll be able to see exactly how Paragon was able to put the punctuation mark there at the end of his ascent to the Outbreak Championship. Now, and this was something that I brought up too with Braden Lee's reign and how that's going to look, what kind of impact that is going to have for that championship. But now, I mean, with the set, with Paragon, with Hollywood House, I mean, Lurch, they're building something huge here.
Absolutely. Like we said earlier when we were talking about Sam Knight, this is another scene in the movie, baby. And it is always going to be a movie when you got the set coming in here. And it's just a movie of gold collection, of gold holding, of showing off all the gold that they can collect here at Emerge Wrestling. And we're going to see,
But, Commish, I know that Hollywood House, he always talks about this conspiracy against him and that you're kind of the head of it. And this match might honestly add some more fuel to that for him. So watch out for that. Because, taking a look at it, Paragon's been 6-0 during his ascent to this Outbreak Championship. Incredible run that he's been on. Cannot fault him for that. But taking a look at some of the bigger opponents that he's had to go up against, some of those members include PB Smooth. They include JD Mariani. And while he has victories over them, Lurch, listen up to this one, they have been by DQ or by other dubious manners. So it almost might seem like Hollywood might bring this up that you're once again going up against them, putting up a big guy against Paragon. I mean,
I'm putting up a big guy against Paragon because he won last month. Did you see or hear the reaction Beef got? And his performance, he's earned an Outbreak Championship opportunity.
And alongside Chet, I mean, that was another guy who came in to Emerge, just debuting. I mean, all sorts of butterflies in your stomach, knocked it out of the park. Beat the snot out of Bastard Cassidy. They both were wailing on each other. And so I 100% agree with you on this. I mean, Big Beef is super duper hungry. He's a free agent just coming off of the MLW contract. Really wants to cement, and this is the way that he thinks he can do it, is from that Outbreak Championship. And this match right here is exactly what that Outbreak Championship is meant for. It's meant for the guy who wants to fast track their success here in Emerge, who wants championship gold, and it might come at the expense of Paragon.
And Kamish brought up a good point. Those last two, or those back-to-back matches, Big Beef's match, Paragon's match, the last event we had, the crowd would not stop chanting. They were in my ear. They would not shut up. They were so loud. And they annoyed me.
Well, can you imagine what they're going to sound like if Big Beef picks up the victory, Lurch?
Oh, man. Oh, I don't even want to imagine that. No, we can't. Hollywood House, we cannot let that happen. Big Beef cannot pick up the victory.
Okay, well, don't think about it because thinking hurts you anyways. And just think about the main event that we're going to be seeing August 6th, 2022 at Emerge 61 Fair Fight. Justin Kyle returns home to put that Emerge Championship on the line against none other than Lord Crew. Not Lurch, you get no credit for this one. Commissioner, once again, what a match to end this fantastic evening.
And, well, we at Emerge haven't seen our champion, Justin Kyle, in a few events, bringing him back with quite a contender.
Quite a contender in Lord Crew. I mean, Lord Crew is one of those guys who is booked everywhere across the country.
Yeah.
And that's simply because of just how good he is. He is the bare-knuckle berserker. He's a bare-knuckle fighter, and that almost seems like exactly what Justin Kyle wants, is somebody who's just going to take the fight to him, right?
Yeah, he just wants to fight.
Yeah, and I may not get credit, but I'm going to get credit for being the guy who has said, I told you so. I told you so. When Lord Crew takes that Emerge Championship belt off of Justin Kyle, I'm going to be sitting there saying, I told you so, Josh Gates.
Well, and because I want to go back to of course, Braden is kind of intertwined in this as well because he's called his shot for Justin Kyle. And I think he's called that shot more for the Outbreak, or for the Emerge Championship, rather. So it could be Lord Crew that he goes after. Who knows? But Justin Kyle has to think about that this entire match. I mean, think about it. All the matches that he's defended his Emerge Championship has been all of these people on the outside trying to come in. They see how valuable that Emerge Championship is, and they want it, right? But now he's got the biggest target on his back. I mean, everybody's gunning for him, and Braden Lee especially. I mean, what'd you say? He respected that Outbreak Championship, but he wants more. I mean...
Yeah. Like I said, he loved being Outbreak champion, and I believe he's really elevated the title. I don't think anybody would argue with that. But as a young athlete, you want more. You want to do better. And there's nothing better than the Emerge Championship.
And nobody knows that better than Justin Kyle himself. I mean, just the folks that he's had to defend that championship against, Jake Christ, DePope Elijah Burke, PB Smooth himself. I mean, and it seems, too, like Lord Crew is kind of just a combination of all the guys that he's fought. I mean, Jake Christ is scrappy. He's scrappy as a bare-knuckle fighter. PB Smooth is huge. Lord Crew is a big guy. I mean, this is going to be a match for the ages.
No doubt. He's coming in to win that Emerge Championship. Justin Kyle better be prepared for August 6th, because I tell you what, I'm going to tell you again, I told you so. I told you so, buddy. Lord Crew's going to have the Emerge Championship strap around his waist by the end of the night.
And John, you mentioned earlier, either one of these men, Justin or Lord Crew, you've got Braden Lee on deck. Can you imagine that?
And, I mean, there's only one way to fit. That match is sponsored by our great friends here at Alicia Roberts State Farm Insurance. Please go get a quote. Go check them out. They are incredible to us. They're able to get us these fantastic matches like Justin Kyle and Lord Crew. And that is essentially going to put a bow on it. And the only thing that there's left to do is get there August 6th. 2022 at Emerge 61 Fair Fight. Once again, I want to note that this is at the Bartholomew County Fairgrounds. Venue change to the community building. We absolutely needed more space, and that was the building for us. So make sure you get there. Front row tickets are sold out, which is bad news and good news, because good news is that you can still get there. You can still buy some general admission tickets. EmergeWrestling.com. Check out our socials, and you're not going to want to go anywhere, because right after this, just like Lurch was talking about, we're going to take you through exactly how Paragon at Emerge 60, home is where the hurt is, was able to dethrone Braden Lee.